been events director for the MDA. I've been there a little over a month and a half, and it's been super awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming to our first in-person luncheon in like 2 years. So today we have a presentation on the Front and Main Street conversion project, and we've got John Updike and Ryman Lubers here to present. John is the Senior Transportation Engineer based in HDR's Missoula office. He is serving as HDR's lead engineer and drawing upon his 23 years of professional experience to help deliver the project for the MRA, the city, and the people and businesses of Missoula. Riley is a transportation engineer with HDR based in Missoula and is serving as a project engineer while applying his 12 years of experience working with MDT and local municipalities to make this project successful. We've got about a 15-minute presentation, and then we'll have time for comments and questions at the end. And I'd also like to give a big shout out to the Missoula Community Access Television. They're recording this for us today, so you can share it with your contacts. We'll probably get it up on our website, and they'll have it on some of their Facebook or website too. And we were able to do this because we got an awesome media assistant grant from them. And yeah, we're really excited to have you guys here. Take it away, John.
Thanks, Greg. Wow, this is good. It's exciting to be here in person. Finally, again, a couple of years. It's an honor for me to be working on this project with HDR and MRA as our direct client in the city of Missoula and all the partners. There's been a lot of history with this project going back to, I guess, HDR's first involvement was with the 2015 feasibility study. It's interesting that that's now 7 years ago. But that really created the momentum for the plan that we are currently working on a final design for. The 2019 master plan also introduced some ideas and concepts, and with a lot of public input and a lot of input from organizations like yourselves to improve the project even more. So I'm going to touch on some of those things today and highlights of kind of where we're at with the project and open it up for some questions. So as I mentioned, our project scope is really about designing to convert the Front Street and Main Street to two-way travel. You know, it's an existing one-way couplet system. You're very familiar with it. We're going from Onstreet intersection to Madison Street. Part of our scope is to address the Kiwanis neighborhood. When Front Street's converted to two-way travel, there's some changes that need to occur for access. I'll touch on that a little bit. And really, we're trying to develop construction documents. So final design, plans, specifications, estimate, ready to go out to construction. Let's see, where should I? Sorry if I block your view. So the project objectives are promoting downtown Missoula as an accessible destination for all people and ages, improve public safety, slowing vehicle speeds down in the downtown area, and increasing pedestrian visibility. Also, generally enhance pedestrian access, improve crosswalk designs, and add curb extensions throughout. We think there's some traffic efficiency by having the two-way system. You avoid some out of direction travel, going around blocks, like many of you did, trying to get here today. Opportunities for providing, enhancing the streetscape at curb extensions, at other areas, boulevards where there's opportunities for landscaping and additional street trees. Bike access has been a big component of the project, and I'll describe that a little more in detail, with bike lanes and some protected bike lanes even. And ultimately enhancing the economic vitality of the downtown Missoula, and just really complimenting on what the amazing place that it already is. So where are we today? We started work, I believe, in May last 21. We went out, did a number of surveys, field surveys, traffic surveys, and engaged some public outreach. I've talked to some of you before. And then we kind of launched into our conceptual design, our 30% design, which we delivered to the city in the fall, October 2021. Today, we're working towards the City of Missoula's Stage 3 submittal process, which is kind of an advanced 90% preliminary design, with which is currently a work in progress, and we're working through a number of kind of open items and issues that have come about through our coordination with the city and other residents and business owners alike. And we're targeting our final plans later this year. And really, the key is wanting to be able to. There's some nice grants out, federal grants, that we think the project will be highly eligible for, and we'd like to help seize that opportunity. So really, the post-2015 feasibility study, the 2019 Downtown Master Plan, complemented many of the findings that were discussed and determined during the 2015 timeframe, and added a number of objectives and strategies for the Front and Main Street two-way conversion project, or just Front and Main Streets in general, that we've also adopted into the project scope. And I think it's important to point out that you guys likely had a lot of say and involvement in the master plan. And so want to just point out that we were being responsive to those ideas and that plan. Gateway feature at Ryman Street, entrance to Caras Park, make Orange Street easier to cross on foot and by bike at Front and Main. And then those are some urban design elements. Improve mobility and health and safety. Replace streetlight fixtures, install pedestrian scale lighting to current standards, restore two-way operations on Front and Main Street. Obviously, that's the backbone of the project. And upgrade access and circulation in Kiwanis Park neighborhood. And that's really tied to the conversion to two-way travel. So again, we are converting Front Street and Main Street to two-way travel. And along with that, we're updating intersections at Orange, Ryman, Higgins, Patty, and Madison. Actually, we're touching just about every intersection within the footprint of the project. Installing modern pedestrian crosswalks, curb ramps, curb extensions, and landscaping. Adding protected bicycle facilities along Front and Main Street. That was a new item that was not specifically considered in the feasibility study. So, and then along with the two-way travel, and everything we're trying to do within the street footprints, we're needing to reconfigure some on-street parking. I'll touch on that a little bit more. At Orange Street, the pedestrian and bike crossing, we believe, is made easier. With some of the elements of that new intersection design. We're replacing streetlight fixtures and installing pedestrian scale lighting and accommodating the gateway concept at Front and Ryman. And we've been working with the Caras Park, or the North Riverside Master Plan Implementation Committee to accommodate that and address access and circulation in Kiwanis Park neighborhood. So let's get into it a little bit. So if you can see, so generally there's quite a few curb enhancements, curb extensions throughout downtown Missoula. Really what we're doing is proposing to do is very similar to what you see up at Pine and Higgins and elsewhere, which reduces the distance for crossing for pedestrians, and it also improves visibility of pedestrians. So all in all, a safety improvement And where there's accessibility opportunities to make improvements as far as ADA, that's standard of practice to address those. Street lighting throughout downtown is, I guess, basically a complete revision to the street lighting with so areas that may not be lit or inadequately lit now today will be improved. And that has also a relationship to safety, especially at intersections. There's quite a few streetscape opportunities at the curb extensions. This one happens to exist today on Main Street at the Patty, the northeast corner of the Complex Brewery. That's an example of the potential that could be implemented at multiple locations. And then, as I mentioned, just the design and treatments that are being proposed are consistent with what we see throughout other areas of downtown that have been improved. Bicycle facilities. So the master plan charged us with looking at protected bike lane systems, specifically on Main Street. And as we looked at that closer throughout in the summer of 2021, we looked adding protected bike lane in both directions on Main Street would really impact parking specifically. And so being that that's where the concentration of parking and a lot of businesses, especially from, Woody Street over to Washington, we came up with the idea to introduce a one-way system on the bike lane. So this rudimentary graphic shows you we're proposing to run eastbound on Main Street with a protected bike lane. We connect down from Main to Front with a multi-use trail that also provides connectivity over to the riverfront trail on this side by using the crosswalk system, and then come back westbound on the north side of Front Street. And then they converge right here at the west end where Front meets Main, just east of the Orange intersection. So this was kind of a new concept that came out of our 30% design back in the fall, and we've kind of taken it and run full steam ahead in our current preliminary design work. One interesting thing, the connectivity with the bicycle system in general, but the neat thing about keeping it on the south side of Main and the north side of Front is if you want to change directions, you have to jog a block, but you never have to cross any actual traffic. You don't have to make a turn across traffic of any sort. So it's kind of a slick idea. It was a way to fit it in both directions. So on Main Street, just give you a snapshot, these renderings here. So this is the existing condition on Main Street. We've got angled parking, 2 lanes, 1 direction. It's about a 66-foot wide curb to curb. Down here is proposed where we've basically kept angled parking and we've added the protected bike lane into here. This would be looking eastbound. And so we have 2 travel lanes. They're about 11 foot wide for driving and standard parking stalls. I think they're 45-degree angle parking, which maintains a decent concentration. There's still some loss of parking spaces. Generally, the change to 45-degree, but also the addition of curb extensions and some of the other features that just eat up space on the street. I know parking has been a major concern that's been voiced to us and raised during the feasibility study and the master plan. But on the order of a 20% reduction of on-street parking today. So I guess it's what we're trying to do in general. following design guidelines, but really holding the existing curbs on Main Street that are there today. We're not widening Main Street. It's everything. We're trying to squeeze within the existing footprint of the road and use that space as economically as we can. On Front Street, this is a view of West Front Street looking east, and you can see this is a 3-lane section, so why it's West Front Street. And then on generally speaking, we're taking West Front Street. We have parallel parking, predominantly already existing. We keep that 11-foot travel lanes, and we've added a protected bike lane, again, within the footprint of the existing curbs. So East Front Street, right out here, we have the narrowest section, and we're working through kind of the best approach right now for fitting the bike lane in, balancing out the need for landscaping and street trees and boulevard with the bike lane. It's kind of an active coordination with parks and various departments of the city. And slightly different on I guess, where we have angle parking, we're proposing on Main Street a physical curb that's raised that would act as a wheel stop to keep vehicles from extending into the bike lane or impeding the bike lane. Where we have parallel parking on Front Street, we generally plan to use striping. And there's also some, if you look around the country at cities that have implemented similar features, there's sometimes opportunities for planters that are placed within that buffer area. Again, some opportunities for streetscape, enhancing the green areas. Interesting, at intersections, having a dedicated protected bike lane requires us to look at the intersection design carefully. Fortunately, there's some good guidelines out there that are very current that help us design protected intersections, and really we're focused on safety, trying to create a consistent, highly visible, and safe condition for really all users, bicycles, pedestrians, and drivers of vehicles. This is a snapshot I snagged from one of our design guidelines, but it shows you kind of an example of all the things going on, the interface with pedestrians, some enhanced striping where bike lane is encountered, and some of what we're proposing in our striping plans is at intersections and at driveways, we have green paint across those areas, as well as signage that will elevate the visibility of the bicycle lane. And there's opportunities for some raised crossings where there's also pedestrian crosswalks adjacent to the bike lane crosswalks. We're looking at that specifically at the Onstreet intersection. And overall, like I mentioned before, the providing the connectivity of the bike lane system and integrating it with a broader multimodal network throughout downtown Missoula. So some specific intersections. At Orange Street and Main Street, I'll step over here for a second. This is what was done in the feasibility study. There were a number of intersection concepts looked at, roundabouts, and again, when we're dealing with Orange Street, Higgins, and Madison, those are MDT-owned roads, and they're also needing to have throughput, and the level of service of those intersections has been a topic of discussion over the years. Part of our scope was to confirm the intersection, traffic numbers and our intersection analysis, and maintain that we didn't further degrade or impact the ability of those streets to move traffic. This was the selected design. The key point here is we've maintained that concept and added some refinements to it. Most notably, the bicycle connectivity and a dual left turn lane. I guess the dual left turn lane from westbound Main Street to southbound Orange. We're wanting to make sure that vehicles don't queue up in those turn lanes and block the ability to turn out from Front Street. This concept does impact the Tangles business, and that's kind of been consistent throughout. But we just clip a little bit of a pie shape of their property, but that's about the only private property impact on the project. There's opportunities for landscaping. The old Front Street here is somewhat surplus property or surplus right-of-way that we've had some dialogue as a project team with the Karras family, and I think they have some interest in some redevelopment. So not sure if the Karras are represented here today, but we've had a lot of ongoing outreach, still more to do with different businesses. Let's see. Importantly, the Burr oak tree that I want to mention it because we're keeping it. We've partly the idea with this shifted design helps us keep that tree, and also just kind of creates it lines up the intersection a little better and uses the space a little more wisely. And then I guess to connect, we have a little cycle track connecting across here next to the large sidewalks that'll help get bikes and people over to Orange Street. And we particularly have shortened up the crosswalk from what it is today across the very long Front and Main Street stretch of the intersection, and have done what we can on the other legs. Over at Madison Street, so Madison in front is a new signalized intersection. Today there's a one-way system. You can either take a right and go south on Madison, or you can hang a left and kind of work up to a frontage road, a little frontage lane that's one-way northbound that takes you back to Main. We're proposing to, as recommended in the master plan, to eliminate the frontage lane, and we've kind of reconstituted the sidewalk system with a multi-use path to help bring bikes from Main Street down to Front, but also just provide that multimodal pedestrian and bike access. Maintaining the driveway here to the alley and the condo parking, and we've replaced some of the spaces that are lost on the frontage lane out on Madison Street, the parallel parking. This also kind of illustrates after looking pretty closely at the Kiwanis neighborhood, what we want to do, what we've proposed is to shift Hartman Street, the opening to Hartman Street over just a little bit, and allow, and I guess put the stop bar on Front Street here. We need to not allow right turns on red in order to allow traffic to enter in a one-way direction into the neighborhood. But we believe this provides the opportunity to access the neighborhood from multiple directions. And then we're proposing to repurpose Parsons Drive. Instead of a one-way in, we're a one-way out, and allowing left turns and right turns on Front Street. So it's a fairly straightforward proposed solution. We're still working with the city and the property owners in this area on the final plans. And then at Karras Park Gateway, or really at Front and Ryman intersection, there's, you guys are familiar with it today, the North Riverside Master Plan, North Riverside Parks and Trails Master Plan has a nice concept for bringing people into the Caras Park down Ryman Street as a gateway. We're working with the city on the gateway concept. Our improvements at this intersection will tie into ultimately the city's, how they want to improve that thoroughfare down into the park. We're also, we're proposing always stop condition so today it's a little awkward at Front and Ryman. Sometimes you don't know if you should stop or not, or who's going to do what next. But our proposed solutions should make that a lot more simple and a lot safer. And simply, we're not proposing putting stop signs all over the place, but at Ryman Street and Front and Ryman at Main, we are proposing four-way stops or all-way stops. And that's also the Front Street to Ryman is Mountain Line's proposed reroute of the bus route 1, I believe, maybe Route 12, but definitely the Route 1. And there, on Ryman and Front, there's a couple of new bus stops proposed. So we're also looking at possibly relocating an existing crosswalk that's further east near the Tangles business and bringing it closer to Carousel Drive. As there's a lot of, Carousel Drive also gets a lot of traffic from the parking lot up to the businesses, and that's been an active conversation with the Boone Carlberg folks that own the Central Park or Central Square office building. And just generally, we're in the middle of coordinating with the city and with multiple businesses and trying to get as much input and buy-in to the design concept so we can get this thing out the door. That's really it. Thank you for your time, and willing to take any questions. And
yes. The master plan was, I think, looking at the possibility of being able to close off sections of, I think it was Front Street for street repairs and stuff like that. Is that still under consideration?
Is that the promenade concept?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at it for a while.
Yeah, that was. So I guess some of the improvements that the master plan envisioned around the promenade concept, I guess our project does not preclude those from being added in the future. But it's not going to implement some of what was recommended specifically.
I think it's safe to say that if we have two-way traffic on those streets, it's a lot easier to close one of them for special events.
Yeah.
Than if we have the one-way company. All you have to do is be downtown when we close the street down before Roots Fest, and everybody just gridlocks.
Yeah, good point. Anybody else?
When the construction starts on both Front and Main, will you be trying to are you going side to side, like keeping one lane open, or will the streets be completely closed?
I think the construction phasing is not yet fully fleshed out, but I would think we need to keep access to businesses. So continuing the one-way system most likely and building on Main Street going westbound and Front going eastbound, and probably just doing work on half the road. So I guess that's something we're starting to talk about with our current design, understanding how to recommend it be built and manage traffic and access to local businesses and residential areas.
And you're actively in the process of meeting with each of those businesses?
Well, part of our part of our outreach is this type of event where most of you represent different businesses throughout downtown, and we're trying to get the word out in kind of a larger format of the project. If I'm willing to, we've been interfacing with anybody that's reached out to us directly and would like to see something specific on the project.
So I think it's safe to say we've done it both ways. We've had open houses, we've done presentations at meetings like this, but then we also realize that there's some key business owners and businesses down on front of Green that we've reached out to individually. And we have had special meetings with that are really focused with the folks that live in the Kiwanis Park neighborhood.
I'm just thinking.
Just asking, you say a little bit more about the construction timeframe, how long it's likely to take, and how it interfaces with the other construction street closures that are going on around downtown.
That's a good question. The timing of the project, well, currently we don't have funding for the project yet. So that's getting the design pushed so far ahead to where we can, we know we have a good sense of the cost. And also the definition in the plans helps us understand the schedule, the construction duration. I would think that in a one solid construction season, this could likely be built out with the right contractor group. If it's a fair amount of work, but generally it's not a reconstruction. We're not reconstructing the streets. We're leaving the existing curbs and sidewalks for the most part as they are, and just repurposing. The corners at the intersections will see the most kind of reconstruction work where we need to cut out the pavement to build the curb extension. It's just there's just quite a few of them to implement.
It sounds like you're talking about maybe next year, not this year.
Definitely not this year. Yeah.
I mean, we really are trying to position ourselves to tap the infrastructure funding that's coming from the federal government. And they're just now starting to release rules and guidelines, and it's been a really slow process. So, we don't have any illusions about starting this in 2022.
We do plan to complete the design in 22 and have it, ready, basically shelf ready to go forward.
The same way we did North Higgins is that we had plans far enough along that when the federal money came out of the sky because of the recession, we were quote unquote shovel ready to get that project built in a hurry. And that's why we moved forward with funding the full engineering for this. Though it may be 5 years before the design will change. But it's not going to be 5 years.
I'm kind of interested in the one-way bicycle traffic lanes. How will you enforce that, or what are the thoughts as to how you'll design them so people know what to do?
Well, the striping on the road will communicate with arrows, the direction of travel, and signage, generally speaking. But there could be a little bit of a learning curve just to understand it once it's implemented. But we're working on our signing plans right now and drawing from examples that have been best practices and examples done in other cities that are like a similar configuration. Currently on North Higgins, there's it's kind of natural to be on the right-hand side going in one direction. That's why we've proposed the direction we have on the interior of the main and front streets. So you'll be going in the same direction of traffic of the side you're on. But there's going to be some general learning curve of this isn't a one-way driving system anymore. It'll be two-way travel. And while there's some benefits, it might take a little bit for those accustomed to the one-way system to adapt.
Well, and when I was, because I thought the same thing, and when I was looking at the picture, in reality, if you look at it, I think with having the protected lane, it's gonna tighten things up. So if you think about it, there's gonna be the sidewalk, and then you've got your cars parked right there, and then you've got cars coming in the other, there's probably not gonna be comfortable room. I think, hopefully, common sense is going to prevail, and they would go, well, I have no room to go this way, and the cars are coming this way, but this is a protected lane, so hopefully they'll innately,
Well, in the hardcore cyclists will ride the traffic. They'll be out in travel.
Yeah.
So it's people like me that'll be on the protected bike.
yeah, me too.
The bike lane width, it will be about 6 feet, which is kind of a standard bike lane width. And then this is Main Street. Again, you're going to have a physical raised curb that's about 3 feet wide, separating the angled parking from the bike lane.
On Main Street, are you taking into consideration now that you're putting the bike lane in, the proclivity on tenants that have these oversized long bed trucks that are going to park it at an angle? Is that going to be traffic? I mean, can those be accommodated?
Well, we're following the City of Missoula's standard parking stall guidelines, which are fairly long, as they are.
There's an impediment to traffic now with some of those guys that don't pull in all the way.
Maybe with $5 a gallon diesel, maybe they'll drive their trucks less. I don't know. I hope that's not around for a long time. Yes.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for this informative speech. What you're doing is great. In the future, if we have someone, our client, that wants to know more information or how they can help or support you, who would they contact?
Well, our public relations expert is Christine Fife with Big Sky Public Relations. So she's sitting right back here. Christine, raise your hand. So we have maybe talk for a second about the website and other contact information, ways to provide comments.
A webpage on the Engage Missoula website, so there is some project information there. I do have some business cards with me if you'd like to take my contact information, but I'm the best point of contact because then I can direct you to where you need to go or get answers for folks.
If someone wanted to be involved with like a community group that wanted to be involved in any kind of cleanup or help, would that fall under your umbrella or would that be someone else?
Did you say clean up?
Yeah, when you were at the very beginning, you were talking about Kiwanis Park.
Oh.
The restoration of that, and I thought I saw something where maybe it was the Kiwanis group that's doing a cleanup, but I wasn't sure if that was part of the city or not.
Well, yeah, Ellen, did you?
Madison's looking at doing a project there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it consists of, and I don't know that they're sure yet. Every so many years, it seems like they want to do another project there. 7 years ago, they did a lot of things. But the focus with this study has been the Kiwanis neighborhood. But it's a really difficult neighborhood to manage as it is in terms of how you get in, how you get out. You know, and this is not going to simplify that situation.
I'll get you the contact information.
What would be the impact on the parking? Are we losing or gaining any parking with this current plan?
Generally, it's kind of fluctuating still as the design is locked down, but on-street parking will be reduced some from what it is today. We have an understanding of with working with Ian Ortlieb who's the new parking director of the Parking Commission. They did a count, so we have a kind of a baseline existing condition today count, and we're seeing about 20% reduction. But there's the challenge with the project like this is to implement the curb extensions and the proper setbacks at intersections and driveways. We can't keep the same number of spaces and provide all those improvements.
So trash enclosures that sit, especially on Main Street, where you are going to have to cross the proposed bike lane, is there going to be accommodations made for that so that way trash can stay?
Yeah, those driveways or alleyways there will be a break in the curb there, and there's likely no parking there either because it's an access point. So we would interrupt that curb, and there's also some where there's going to be some drainage openings in that curb to let water get over to the existing curb as well. And then where there's some ADA curb ramps, mid-block and such, we'll have breaks and openings in that raised curb as well, and just put striping in instead.
I heard you say that the west Front Street will be the narrowest of this project, unless I wrote it down. But I just wanted to be sure that you were going to maintain the 11-foot lanes for trucks like ours that go down Front Street. Is that?
Yeah, 11-foot lanes is. Yeah, we're keeping those throughout, and it's East Front Street, so really just from Washington to Madison, it's kind of the narrowest section of the. Yeah, just really right out the window we can look at, where it's fairly narrow, and there's parallel parking on both sides. But excuse me. Working with Mountain Line specifically, with them rerouting, using the new signalized intersection at Madison Front, turning onto Front, and a couple of bus stops one at Adams and one at Patty. Those the bus would they have mirrors that are fairly wide, and so we've kind of agreed, let's keep it at 11 feet. But generally speaking, the way to slow traffic down is narrowing the lanes. The city's standard lane width is down to 10 feet. So we kind of agreed, let's go with, MDT would want a 12-foot lane, but 11's, with all the parking and stuff, it seems to make the most sense. Well, if nothing else, thank you very much. Oh, go ahead.
Hey, one more thing. I forgot at the beginning for everyone to introduce themselves. So if we could go around the room and say your name and what organization you're with, that'd be great. You can start.
Hi everyone, my name is Brandon Dewey. I'm the program director for the Downtown Missoula Partnership.
Hi everyone, I'm Denise Higgins. I'm the new director of Giving for the Missoula Downtown Partnership.
I'm also a DMP employee. I'm a new finance director for them. So my name's Jack Hall.
Patty Solomon with Glacier Wealth Management. I'm happy to be a part of such progressive people.
I'm Cindy Habig. I'm with Glacier Wealth Management as well.
I'm Mark Bancal. I'm with WGM Group.
I'm who am I? I'm Shelby Kill. I'm a new board member on the Missoula Downtown Foundation, and I'm community liaison at Cost Care.
And you rock.
Riley Lubers, transportation engineer at HDR.
Christine Pike. I'm with Big Sky Public Relations.
Ryan Griggs with the Red Hotel.
Marcy McEnany, 2 men in a truck.
Bailey Bancroft, also with 2 men in a truck.
Quentin with Q Hospitality Management.
Craig Ravenslow, I'm a psychologist in private practice.
Kim Puggas-Johns, Missoula Paddleheads and Paddleheads Post.
Matt Ellis, Missoula Paddleheads, Downtown Association board member and Master Plan Implementation Committee member.
Steve MacArthur, MacArthur Consulting.
Debbie Gass with Missoula Job Service.
I'm Leighton with Glenda, and I'm also with Missoula Job Service.
I'm Leanne Meyer. I'm the Director of Alumni at the University of Montana.
Sierra Hoffman with Public Services. Samantha Boyd. I am Account Manager for Downtown Missoula and for Public Services.
I'm Krista Clausen, the Commercial Account Manager for everything south of the river for Republic Services.
And I'm Ashley Larkin. I'm with First Montana Bank, and I'm also an MDA board member.
Cool. Thank you guys, and thanks Christine, Riley, and John so much for your presentation today.
You're welcome.